That was, yes, Billy Strayhorn's Chelsea Bridge, written in 1941, coming off live off the dulcet swing tones of my licorice stick, my clarinet. Chelsea Bridge, haunting in the extreme. This tune, unique in its chord structure, feels, to me at least, like a fitting prelude to today's episode, Thieves of Mercy. Sophisticated and massively soulful, Billy Strayhorn was the brilliant composer and arranger for Duke Ellington. Strayhorn famously composed what would arguably be Ellington's greatest hit, Take the A Train, and also what for me is my favorite ballad of all time, Lush Life. He also wrote just before his death in 1967 of cancer, Blood Count, Upper Manhattan Medical Group, UMMG, Daydream, and movie-wise, Strays, as he was called, collaborated with Ellington on the brilliant score to Anatomy of a Murder. And Strayhorn was unique. He lived openly as a gay man generations before it was accepted or safe. He lived in Duke's shadow, but was surely a giant in his own right. Some album referrals. Check out Art Farmer's Strayhorn tribute album, Something to Live For. My favorite version of Lush Life is Coltrane's version, where he collaborates with Johnny Hartman, a terrific, if underrated singer. Big band collaboration with Johnny Hodges. Strayhorn's collaboration is a frigging knockout. And finally, Ellington and Strays did a Shakespeare tribute album called Such Sweet Thunder. And fittingly for this podcast, one tune is called, off that album, Madness in Great Ones. They're ode to Hamlet. Definitely an ear opener and a mind expander. Okay. Welcome to Act 4 of Rebel Without Applause, coming to you live from my movie studio apartment right here in the Wood of the Holly under the sign. I want to dive right into where we left off. We're going to begin fresh with Act 4 of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. This, the podcast premiere, 418 years since it was originally scribed with feather and ink. It comes to you now through this portal. To review, in Act 3... as the tragedians of the city enacted for the court as a play, The Murder of Gonzago, the performances catches the conscience of the king and throttles him into a screaming fit of guilt and panic. In his fury, the performance is aborted. Hamlet is shortly thereafter summoned to his mother's bedchamber, where he at once confronts her over her o'er-hasty marriage to the King Claudius. Therein, he discovers Polonius spying behind the heiress, and Hamlet withdraws his rapier and impales him to his death before he, in a fit of fury, is revisited by the ghost of his father. That kingly ghost urges Hamlet to spare his mother his wrath and save it for the king. And now, as we embark on the next chapter of this journey, in the dreary dead of the night, fear and loathing, crime, corruption, and cover-up reign supreme, and the deep state dungeon that is Elsinore. In stone corridor, Claudius the king is sequestered with his wife, Gertrude, and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. He plots Hamlet's demise. The king, there's matter in these sighs, these profound heaves you must translate. 'Tis fit we understand them. Where is your son? Bestow this place on us a little while, says the queen. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern depart. Ah, mine own lord, what have I seen tonight? What, Gertrude? How does Hamlet? Mad as the sea and wind when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit behind the arras, hearing something stir, whips out his rapier, cries, a rat, and in this brainish apprehension kills the unseen good old man. Oh, heavy deed, bemoans the king. It had been so with us had we been there. His liberty is full of threats to all, to you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be laid to us, whose providence should have kept short, restrained, and out of haunt this mad young man. But so much was our love, we would not understand what was most fit, but like the owner of a foul disease, to keep it from divulging, let it feed even on the pith of life. Where is he gone? To draw apart the body he hath killed, says the queen, o'er whom his very madness, like some ore among a mineral of metal's base, shows itself pure. He weeps for what is done. Oh, Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence, and this vile deed we must, with all our majesty and skill, both countenance and excuse. Ho, Guildenstern! Enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, friends both. Go join you with some further aid. Hamlet in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closet hath he dragged him. Go, seek him out, speak fair, and bring the body into the chapel. I pray you, haste in this. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern depart. Come, Gertrude, we'll call up our wisest friends and let them know both what we mean to do and what's untimely done, whose whisper o'er the world's diameter as level as the cannon to his blank transports his poisoned shot may miss our name and hit the woundless air. Oh, come away. My soul is full of discord and dismay. Another part of the dungeon that is Elsinore, Hamlet enters. He plucks Polonius's dead corpse into a locker beneath some stone stairs. Hamlet, safely stowed. Hamlet! Lord Hamlet! But soft, says Hamlet. What noise? Who calls on Hamlet? Oh, here they come. Hamlet spots Rosencrantz and Guildenstern and others. Rosencrantz, what have you done, my lord, with the dead body? Compounded it with dust whereto 'tis king. Tell us where 'tis, that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel. Do not believe it. Believe what? That I can keep your counsel and not mine own. Besides, to be demanded of a sponge, what replication should be made by the son of a king? Take you me for a sponge, my lord, says Rosencrantz. Aye, sir, that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities. But such officers do the king best service in the end. He keeps them like an ape an apple in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed to be last swallowed. When he needs what you have gleaned, it is but squeezing you, and sponge, you shall be dry again. I understand you not, my lord. I am glad of it. A knavish speech sleeps in a foolish ear. My lord, says Rosencrantz, you must tell us where the body is and go with us to the king. The body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. The king is a thing, my lord, of nothing. Bring me to him. Hide fox and all after. They all depart. Enter the king, followed by 2 or 3 of his subservient subjects. I have sent to seek him and to find the body. How dangerous is it that this man goes loose? Must not we put the strong law on him. He's loved of the distracted multitude, who like not in their judgment, but their eyes. Where 'tis so, the offender's scourge is waved, but never the offense. To bear all smooth and even, this sudden sending him away must seem deliberate pause. Diseases desperate grown by desperate appliance are relieved, or not at all. Rosencrantz runs in. "How now? What hath befallen?" says the king. "Where the dead body is bestowed, my lord, we cannot get from him." "But where is he?" "Without, my lord, guarded to know your pleasure." "Bring him before us." "Ho, ho, bring in the lord." And they do enter with Hamlet. "Now, Hamlet," asked the king, "where's Polonius?" "At supper." "At supper where?" "Not where he eats, but where he is eaten. A certain convocation of politic worms are even at him. Your worm is your only emperor for diet. We fat all creatures else to fat us, and we fat ourselves for maggots. Your fat king and your lean beggar is but variable service. 2 dishes but to 1 table, that's the end. Alas, alas. A man may fish with the worm, says Hamlet, that hath eat of a king, and eat of the fish that hath fed of that worm. What dost thou mean by this? Asked the king. Nothing but to show you how a king may go a progress through the guts of a beggar. Where is Polonius? In heaven. Send thither to see. If your messenger find him not there, seek him in the other place yourself. But if indeed you find him not within this month, you shall nose him as you go up the stairs into the lobby. Go, seek him there. The attendants depart. He will stay till you come. Hamlet, this deed for thine especial safety, which we do tender as we dearly grieve, for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore prepare thyself. The bark is ready, and the wind at help. The associates tend, and everything is bent for England. For England? Aye, Hamlet. Good. So is it, if thou knewest our purposes. I see a cherub that sees them. But come for England. Farewell, dear mother. Thy loving father, Hamlet. My mother. Father and mother is man and wife. Man and wife is one flesh. And so my mother. Come for England. Hamlet dashes out. The king, follow him at foot, tempt him with speed aboard, delay it not, I'll have him hence tonight. Away, for everything is sealed and done that else leans on the affair. Pray you, make haste. All but the king remain. And England, if my love thou holdst aught, as my great power thereof may give thee sense, since thy cicatrice looks raw and red after the Danish sword, and thy free pays homage to us, thou mayest not coldly set our sovereign process, which imports at full by letters congruing to that effect the present death of Hamlet. Do it, England, for like the hectic in my blood, he rages, and thou must cure me, till I know 'tis done, howe'er my haps, my joys will ne'er begin. The king departs. And now upon a field, rather a promontory that overlooks a field, enters the princely Fortinbras. Below is his army that occupies the field below said promontory. Fortinbras, go, captain, from me greet the Danish king. Tell him that by his license Fortinbras craves the conveyance of a promised march over his kingdom. You know the rendezvous. If that his majesty would aught with us, we shall express our duty in his eye, and let him know so. The captain attending Fortinbras, I will do it, my lord. Go, softly on. Fortinbras departs, leaving but the captain. And then enters Hamlet, Rosencrantz, Guildenstern, and a small retinue. Good sir, says Hamlet, whose powers are these? They are of Norway, sir. How propose, sir, I pray you, against some part of Poland, answers the captain. Who commands them, sir? The nephew to old Norway, Fortinbras. Goes it against the main of Poland, sir, or some frontier? Truly to speak, says the captain, and with no addition, we go to gain a little patch of ground that hath in it no profit but the name. To pay 5 ducats, 5 I would not farm it, nor will it yield to Norway or the Pole a ranker rate should it be sold in fee. Why then the Polak never will defend it. Yes, it is already garrisoned. 2,000 souls and 20,000 ducats will not debate the question of this straw. This is the imposthume of much wealth and peace, that inward breaks and shows no cause without why the man dies. I humbly thank you, sir. God be with you, sir. The captain exits. Will it please you go, my lord? Asked Rosencrantz. I'll be with you straight. Go a little before. Rosencrantz and his retinue depart. Hamlet is alone. He looks over the promontory and spies the army assembled below. How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast no more. Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fasten us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which quartered hath but 1 part wisdom, and ever 3 parts coward. I do not know why yet I live to say this thing's to do, since I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed makes mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly to be great is not to stir without great argument, but greatly to find quarrel in a straw when honor's at the stake. How stand I, then, that have a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and all sleep, while to my shame I see the imminent death of 20,000 men that for a fantasy and trick of fame go to their graves like beds, fight for a plot whereon the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain. Oh, from this time forth my thoughts be bloody or be nothing worth. Inside Elsinore enters Horatio, the queen, and a gentleman. The queen. I will not speak with her. The gentleman. She is importunate, indeed distract. Her moods will needs be pitied. What would she have? Asked the queen. She speaks much of her father, says she hears there's tricks of the world, and hems and beats her heart, spurns enviously at straws, speaks things in doubt that carry but half sense. Her speech is nothing, yet the unshaped use of it doth move the hearers to collection. They aim at it and botch the words up fit to their own thoughts, which, as her winks and nods and gestures yield them, indeed make one think there might be thought, though nothing sure, yet much unhappily. 'Twere good she were spoken with, says Horatio, for she may stew dangerous conjectures in ill-breeding minds. Let her come in, says the queen. The gentleman exits. Oh, to my sick soul, as sin's true nature is, each toy seems prologue to some great amiss. So full of artless jealousy as guilt, it spills itself, then fearing to be spilt. And then the door opens, and as if in a trance, in an otherworldly place of her own making, enters Ophelia, distracted. Ophelia. Where is the beauteous majesty of Denmark? How now, Ophelia? Ophelia. How should I know your true love know from another one? By his cockle hat and staff, and his sandal shoes. Alas, asked the queen, sweet lady, what imports this song? Say you, nay, pray you mark. He is dead and gone, lady. He is dead and gone. At his head the grass-green turf, at his heels a stone. Ho, ho! Nay, but Ophelia, asked the queen, pray you mark. White his shroud as the mountain's snow. The king enters. Alas, look here, my lord, points the queen at Ophelia. Ophelia continues, white his shroud as the mountain snow, larded all with sweet flowers, which bewept to the ground did not go with true love showers. How do you, pretty lady? Asked the queen. Well, God dild you, answers Ophelia. They say the owl was a baker's daughter. Lord, we know not what we are, but we know what we may be. God be at your table. Conceit upon a father, says the king. Pray, let's have no words of this, but when they ask you what it means, say you this, says Ophelia. Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all in the morning betime, and I am made at your window to be your Valentine. Then up he rose, donned his clothes, and duped the chamber door. let in the maid, then out a maid, never departed more. Pretty Ophelia, indeed without an oath, I'll make an end on it, says Ophelia. By gifts and by Saint Charity, alack and fie for shame. Young men will do it if they come to it. By cock, they are to blame. Quoth she, before you tumbled me, you promised me to wed. He answers, so would I have done by yonder sun if thou hadst not come to my bed. The king, how long hath she been thus? Ophelia, I hope all will be well. We must be patient, but I cannot choose but weep to think they would lay him in the cold ground. My brother shall know of it. And so I thank you for your good counsel. Come, my coach, good ladies, good night. Good night, sweet ladies, good night, good night. And then Ophelia trots out of their company in her own world, distracted. The king, follow her close. Give her good watch, I pray you. Horatio exits. Oh, this is the poison of deep grief. It springs all from her father's death, and now behold, oh, Gertrude, Gertrude, when sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions. First our father slain, next your son gone, and he most violent author of his own just remove. The people muddied, thick and unwholesome in their thoughts and whispers for good Polonius' death, and we have done but greenly in hugger-mugger to inter him. Poor Ophelia, divided from herself and her fair judgment, without the which we are pictures or mere beasts, lass, and as much containing as all these. Her brother is in secret come from France, feeds on his wonder, keeps himself in clouds, and wants not buzzes to infect his ear with pestilent speeches of his father's death, where necessity of matter beggared will nothing stick our person to arraign in ear and ear. Oh, my dear Gertrude, this, like to a murdering peace in many places, gives me a superfluous death. There's a noise from without. It's the rabble of a crowd. Alack, says the queen, what noise is this? The king, attend, where are my Switzers? Let them guard the door. The throng increases, there's pounding at the door, a messenger enters. The king, what is the matter? The messenger, save yourself, my lord. The ocean, o'erpeering of his list, eats not the flats with more impiteous haste than young Laertes in a riotous head o'erbears your officers. The rabble call him lord, and as the world were now but to begin, antiquity forgot, custom not known, the ratifiers and props of every word, they cry, choose we, Laertes shall be king. Caps, hands, and tongue applauded to the clouds. Laertes shall be king. Laertes king. And with that, a large echo, a crowd from beyond the walls reverberates into the lobby where the king and the queen wait. The queen, how cheerfully on the false trail they cry. Oh, this is counter, you false Danish dogs. The doors are broke. And then Laertes enters, followed by that mob. Where is the king? Laertes turns upon the mob that follows. Sir, stand you all without. No, no, says the mob. Let's come in. I pray you, says Laertes, give me leave. We will. We will. And with that, the crowd, the mob retreats behind. Laertes approaches. I thank you. Keep the door. He turns upon the king, does Laertes. O thou vile king, give me my father. Calmly, good Laertes, that drop of blood that's calm proclaims me bastard, cries cuckold to my father, brands the harlot even here between the chaste, unsmirched brow of my true mother. What is the cause, Laertes, that thy rebellion looks so giant-like? Let him go, Gertrude. Do not fear our person. There is such divinity doth hedge a king that treason can but peep what to what it would, acts little of his will. Tell me, Laertes, why thou art thus incensed. Let him go, Gertrude. Speak, man. Where is my father? Dead. But not by him. Let him demand his fill. Laertes, how came he dead? I'll not be juggled with. To hell allegiance, vows to the blackest devil, conscience and grace to the profoundest pit. I dare damnation. To this point I stand, that both the worlds I give to negligence. Let come what comes, only I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father. Who shall stay you? My will, not all the world, and for my means I'll husband them so well they shall go far with little. King, good Laertes, if you desire to know the certainty of your dear father, is't writ in your revenge that swoop stake you will draw both friend and foe, winner and loser? None but his enemies, answers Laertes. Will you know them then? To his good friends thus wide I'll ope my arms, and like the kind life-rendering pelican repass them with my blood. Why, now you speak like a good child and a true gentleman. That I am guiltless of your father's death, and am most sensibly in grief for it shall as level to your judgment peer, as day does to your eye. Let her come in! Let her come in! There's a noise! How now? What noise is that? And then, distracted more than ever before, carrying a bouquet of weeds and pansies and flowers, her garments all disheveled this way and that, her bonnet askew, Laertes observes Ophelia as she enters. O heat, dry up my brains, tears 7 times salt, burn out the sense and virtue of mine eye. By heaven, thy madness shall be paid with weight till our scale turn the beam. O rose of May, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia, O heavens, is it possible a young maid's wit should be as mortal as an old man's life? Ophelia twirls before them. They bore him barefaced on the bier. Hey nunny, nunny, hey nunny, and in his grave rained many a tear. Fare you well, my dove. Hadst thou thy wits and didst persuade revenge, it could not move thus, Ophelia. You must sing a down, and you call him a down. Oh, how the wheel becomes it. It is the false steward that stole his master's daughter. This nothing's more than matter. Here, sir, there's rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray you, love, remember. And there's pansies. That's for thoughts. A documented madness, thoughts and remembrances fitted. There's fennel for you and columbines. There's rue for you, and here's some for me. We may call it herb of grace or Sundays. You must wear your rue with a difference. There's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end. For bonny sweet Robin is all my joy. Laertes, thought and afflictions, passion, hell itself, she turns to favor and to prettiness. For bonny sweet Robin is all my joy, and will he not come again? And will he not come again? No, no, he is dead. Go to thy deathbed, he never will come again. His beard was as white as snow, all flaxen was his poll. He is gone, and we cast away moan, God a mercy on his soul. And of all Christian souls, I pray you, God be with you. And Ophelia, as if in a trance, twirls and dances out of company and down a dark corridor. Do you see this, says Laertes? Oh, God. Laertes, I must commune with your grief, or you deny me right, says the king. Go but apart, make choice of whom your wisest friends you will, and they shall hear and judge twixt you and me. If by direct or by collateral hand they find us touched, we will our kingdom give, our crown, our life, and all that we call ours to you in satisfaction. But if not, be you content to lend your patience to us, and we shall jointly labor with your soul to give it due content. Let this be so, answers Laertes. His means of death, his obscure funeral, no trophy sword, no hatchment o'er his bones, no noble rite, nor formal ostentation, cried to be heard as 'twere from heaven to earth, that I must call it in question. So you shall, answers the king, and where the offense is, let the great axe fall. I pray you, go with me. And they do. In another corner of Elsinore enters Horatio, followed by others. What are they that would speak with me, says Horatio. A seafaring men, sir. They say they have letters for you. Let them come in. The gentleman exits. I do not know from what part of the world I should be greeted, if not from Lord Hamlet. Enter a group of sailors. God bless you, sir, says the sailor. Let him bless thee too, says Horatio. He shall, sir, that please him. There's a letter for you, sir. It came from the ambassador that was bound for England. If your name be Horatio, as I am let to know it is. The sailor hands Horatio a letter. Horatio reads, Horatio, when thou shalt have overlooked this, give these fellows some means to the king. They have letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate, a very warlike appointment, gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled valor, and in the grapple I boarded them. On the instant, they got clear of our ship, so I alone became their prisoner. They have dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew what they did. I am to do a good turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me with as much speed as thou wouldst fly death. I have words to speak in thine ear will make thee dumb, yet are they much too light for the bore of the matter. These good fellows will bring thee where I am. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern hold their course for England. Of them I have much to tell thee. Farewell. He that thou knowest thine, Hamlet. Horatio refolds that letter. Come, I will give you way for these your letters, and do the speedier that you may direct me to him from whom you brought them. They exit. And to the king and Laertes. Now, says the king, must your conscience my acquittal seal, and you must put me in your heart for friend, sith you have heard, and with a knowing ear, that he which hath your noble father slain pursued my life. It well appears, says Laertes. But tell me why you proceeded not against these feats, so criminal and so capital in nature, as by your safety, greatness, wisdom, all things else, you mainly were stirred up. Oh, for two special reasons, answers the king, which may to you perhaps seem much unsinewed, but yet to me they're strong. The queen his mother lives almost by his looks, and for myself, my virtue or my plague, be it either which, she is so conjunctive to my life and soul, that as the star moves not but in his sphere, I could not but by her. The other motive why to a public count I might not go is the great love the general gender bear him, who dipping all his faults in their affection, work like the spring that turneth wood to stone, convert his givies to graces, so that my arrows, too slightly timbered for so loud a wind, would have reverted to my bow again, but not where I have aimed them. And so have I, says Laertes, a noble father lost, a sister driven into desperate terms, whose worth, if praises may go back again, stood challenger on mount of all the age for her perfections. But my revenge will come. Says the king, break not your sleeps for that. You must not think that we are made of stuff so flat and dull that we can let our beard be shook with danger and think it pastime. You shortly shall hear more. I loved your father, and we love ourselves, and that, I hope, will teach you to imagine. Enters a messenger with letters. How now? What news? Letters, my lord, from Hamlet. These to your majesty, this to the queen. From Hamlet? Who brought them? Sailors, my lord, they say. I saw them not. They were given me by Claudio. He received them of him that brought them. Laertes, says the king, you shall hear them. Leave us. The messenger exits. The king unfolds the letter. Reads, High and mighty, you shall know I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes, when I shall first asking your pardon, thereunto recount the occasion of my sudden and more strange return. Hamlet. What should this mean? Are all the rest come back, or is it some abuse and no such thing? Know you the hand? Asked Laertes. 'Tis Hamlet's character, naked. And in the postscript here he says, alone. Can you advise me? I am lost in it, my lord, answers Laertes, but let him come. It warms the very sickness in my heart that I shall live and tell him to his teeth, thus didst thou. If it be so, Laertes, as how should it be so? How otherwise? Will you be ruled by me? "Aye, my lord. So you will not rule me to a peace? To thine own peace. If he be now returned, as checking at his voyage, and that he means no more to undertake it, I will work him to an exploit now ripe in my device, under the which he shall not choose but fall. And for his death no wind of blame shall breathe, but even his mother shall uncharge the practice and call it accident. My lord, I will be ruled, the rather if you could devise it so that I might be the organ." Says the king, "It falls right. You have been talked of since your travel much, and that in Hamlet's hearing, for a quality wherein they say you shine. Your sum of parts did not together pluck such envy from him as did that one, and that in my regard of the unworthiest siege. What part is that, my lord?" asked Laertes. "A very ribbon in the cap of youth, yet needful too, for youth no less becomes a light and careless livery that it wears, and settled age his sables and his weeds, importing health and graveness. 2 months since, here was a gentleman of Normandy. I have seen myself and served against the French, and they can well on horseback. But this gallant had witchcraft in it. He grew unto his seat, and to such wondrous doings brought his horse as he had been encorpsed and demi-natured with the brave beast. So far he topped my thought that I in forgery of shapes and tricks come short of what he did." "A Norman, was it?" asked Laertes. "Yes, a Norman. Upon my life, Lamord." The king, "The very same. I know him well. He is the brute indeed, and gem of all the nation. He made confession of you, and gave you such a masterly report for art and exercise in your defense, and for your rapier most especial, that he cried out, 'Twould be a sight indeed if one could match you. The scrimmers of their nation, he swore, had neither motion, guard, nor eye if you opposed him. Sir, this report of his did Hamlet so envenom with his envy that he could do nothing but wish and beg your sudden coming or to play with you. Now, out of this, what out of this, my lord?" says Laertes. "Laertes, was your father dear to you? Or are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart? Why ask you this? Not that I think you did not love your father, but that I know love is begun by time, and that I see in passages of proof time qualifies the spark and fire of it. But to the quick of the ulcer. Hamlet comes back. What would you undertake to show yourself indeed your father's son more than in words? To cut his throat to the church. No place indeed should murder sanctuarize. Revenge should have no bounds. But, good Laertes, will you do this? Keep close within your chamber. Hamlet returns, shall know you are welcome home. Will put on these, shall praise your excellence, and set a double varnish on the fame the Frenchman gave you. Bring you in fine together, and wager on your heads. He, being remiss, most generous, and free from all contriving, will not peruse the foils, so that with ease, or with a little shuffling, you may choose a sword unbaited, and in a passive practice requite him for your father. I will do it, answers Laertes, and for that purpose I'll anoint my sword. I bought an unction of a mountebank so mortal that but dip a knife in it, where it draws blood, no cataplasm so rare, collected from all simples that have virtue under the moon, can save the thing from death that is but scratched withal. I'll touch my point with this contagion, that if I gall him slightly it may be death. Says the king, let's further think of this, weigh what convenience both of time and means may fit us to our shape. If this should fail, and that our drift look through our bad performance, 'twere better not to sade. Therefore this project should have a back or second that might hold, if this did blast in proof. Soft, let me see. We'll make a solemn wager on your cunnings. I have it! When in your motion you are hot and dry, as make your bouts more violent to that end, and that he calls for drink, I'll have prepared him a chalice for the nonce, wherein but sipping, if he by chance escape your venom stuck, our purpose may hold there. But stay, what noise? Enters the queen. One woe doth tread upon another's heel, so fast they follow. Your sister's drowned, Laertes. Drowned? Oh, where? Says the queen. There is a willow grows askant the brook that shows his hoar leaves in the glassy stream. There with fantastic garlands did she make of crowflowers, nettles, daisy, and long purples that liberal shepherds give a grosser name, but our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There on the pendant boughs her coronet weeds, clamoring to hang, an envious sliver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide, and mermaid-like awhile they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old lauds, as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and endued unto that element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death. Alas, then she is drowned. Aye, drowned. Too much of water hast thou, poor Ophelia, says Laertes, and therefore I forbid my tears. But yet it is our trick, nature her custom holds. Let shame say what it will, when these are gone, the woman will be out. Adieu, my lord. I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly drowns it. Laertes leaves. Let's follow Gertrude, says the king. How much I had to do to calm his rage, now fear I this will give it start again, therefore let's follow. Curtain. Act 4. Oh, wow. And so, the suspense, the drama, the plot, the cunning, the crime, the corruption, the cover-up amps up to, indeed, a very high level in the dungeon that is Elsinore. And next week we'll get into Act 5, the violent conclusion to this tragedy of revenge. Stumbled through it a little bit there, but I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed it just a quarter of as much as I enjoyed doing it, then I think this is a cool experience. Further recommendation, read the play. You know, this is the kind of this is the kind of material you sort of have to meet halfway. The more you know about it, the more you can enjoy. Or the more you know about it, the more you can go, boy, Calvinson's really blowing it. He's really botching Hamlet. He has no clue what he's talking about. Or maybe the reverse, who knows. But either way, I think the journey into this play, into this literature is definitely a journey worth taking. So once again, thank you as we march towards the conclusion of this limited series. Yes, the podcast premiere of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. My one-man show, all characters. People say, well, Bill, why do you do all the parts? It's because, I don't want to give any part away, from the lowliest messenger to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to Ophelia to the Queen to the King to Hamlet himself. I give no part away because, frankly, I've lost so many parts in my life. This will not nearly make up for those that I lost. So I hope you can indulge me this because, yes, I am. Anyway, till next time, thanks for listening again, and I bid you adios, goodbye, and adieu.